I'm gonna use this one because it smells like cocoa mint. You want to smell it?
Wow, it does.
It does, right?
Yeah, I thought it would just smell like marker that gets you high.
No, it's cocoa mint.
All right, you do you.
All right. Hello everyone, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Ethan.
And welcome to Game on Board Game, a channel where we talk about board games and do fun games and challenges based on our love for them.
Today we're going to play a little bit of Would You Rather.
Yes.
Board game edition. So we've prepared 10 questions, and we're just kind of going to give our answers and discuss, why we think the way that we think.
And feel free to play along as, we're going through the questions and let us know what you would choose.
Absolutely.
All right, what's the first one?
All right, we'll start off with some easier ones. Would you rather have a game day of 5 short games or one epic 3+ hour extravaganza?
Oh no, it doesn't work. It smells good, but it doesn't work. All right, ready?
Yep. I said, 3 hour.
Sure.
I mean, how short are we talking? I was imagining it being like filler games, which again, just tend to not be my preference.
I don't know. I was thinking just like small box, like shorter games in general. Like, I don't know. I was thinking like Welcome to or like Three Sisters or things like that aren't like literally filler games.
I guess I just thought a lot of those, we don't have a hard time getting played at the two of us,
Sure.
If we're talking game day, I want to feel like I got my money's worth and like it was epic.
Sure.
Plus also just like a lot of games just take longer with more players,
Yeah. I would say this is sort of my like go-to. Like I rarely want to play like super long games. I have to be in the right mood for it. So, I mean, I think it would
game days that often either.
I think it would depend on the mood I'm in a little bit, but I do think like my default is to play like more games rather than less games.
Yes.
So
that might come up in other questions as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Would you rather never be able to pick your player color or never be able to be first player?
I'll have to think about this one a little bit.
All right.
So we both want color.
Well, so this is the one that you would not be able to do.
Right.
Yes. Okay. I want to be first player.
Oh. Well, then I interpreted that wrong.
That's fine.
You said never be able to. So I'm saying the question was, would you rather never be able to
The question is, would you rather
pick your
A
favorite
or
color?
B? And A was never choose your player color. We broke her braid.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that people understand what you're trying to say. I would like to be able to be first player if given the option, because some games that really makes a difference.
Okay, well then I should change my answer.
No, we know what your answer is. Just talk about it.
Okay. No, my answer is first player. So the reason I would pick first player is because I feel like if you know you're never going to be first player and you're always going second.
You'll get over the disappointment.
No, I think you could plan for it.
Oh. Well, you're also assuming second again because we're used to two-player games. But
I think as a default, it would mostly be that I would be second.
I guess.
But, I mean, sure,
Yeah.
like in other games, I would say we play with large groups of people. I don't always go first anyway, so that's not a big miss, but
it needs to be not always that you're first, but that there's an equal distribution. Like that you have the opportunity to. It might not seem like these are like actually comparable because like who really cares about player colors, but like
I care about player colors.
Like we care about player colors.
Everybody cares about player colors.
I don't know that everybody does, but I think
most people
there are dozens of us.
Yes, there are a lot of player color people. So my thought was though that like you could plan to be the second player, so you could kind of strategize gameplay wise if you're the second player.
Sometimes, sure, but like what's an example of that?
I think sometimes it doesn't matter if you're first or second player, first off.
No, it doesn't. But sometimes it really does.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah. It matters as much as what color you are, it does. I'll say that. Because that literally has no impact on anything.
Sure. I get that. I don't know. I really love picking my player color. And I always pick like purple or blue. And I always get so sad if I don't get to pick my player color.
Okay. In social deduction games, or like traitor-betrayer type of games, would you rather always be the traitor or never be the traitor? And now, traitor might not be the best word for it because I don't literally mean that, but just like, if it's like a witch hunting type of game, do you want to be the witches who are getting hunted? If it's like a spy type of game, do you want to be like the double agent spies that, people are trying to like point out or not.
Okay, I was thinking like betrayer type games specifically when you asked that initially. I don't know if that changes my answer. So I said never.
I also said never, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a good secret person.
Oh, you're the worst.
Yeah.
Like, you really are. First off, you just you just never betray anybody. Like, you just end up...
I try to wait till the very last minute so that there's not suspicion on me and stuff.
And then you just don't do it.
I also come into so many of these games just at a disadvantage because people assume that I am going to be that for some reason.
Yeah, they do.
Like, especially if we play with like your family and I'm the one teaching them the game or whatever, they think just because I have like a knowledge base of like how the game works, you know, and I'm coming at it from like that pre-existing position, they're like, I must be up to something.
Okay, but
and it's
that happens
fun.
to me too. Like, that absolutely happens to me.
Yeah.
So I guess like, so I was thinking like betrayer specific games. I think like I probably would still go with that maybe as like never. But I do think like games like where there's like a witch hunter or something, I do like to be the witch.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun.
That makes sense. It does depend for you, probably.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the same thing, and I don't want that.
Yeah. A lot of times too, like you'll have like a game master who's kind of running the game. And so like generally in those types of games, I am the game master. So I always run them. So anytime I actually get to play, everyone's like, we're going after you immediately because they like don't get to normally. So they'll like take me out in one round right away. Even though like, it's like a 50-50 chance of whether that's going to happen or not. But
I'm just not good at being
funny.
sneaky. These aren't my preferred types of games anyway. You know, I mean, we've talked about like Dead of Winter on this channel a lot as one of our favorites with like with the trader mechanic, but actual social deduction, like no,
I love social deduction.
I'm not sneaky. Would you rather only own 10 games that are all 10 out of 10s for you, or own 100 games that are all solid 7s?
I mean, I know what your answer is.
I know what your answer is. Yeah. This is what I was alluding to. You know, you want to go wide.
Yeah.
I want the 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
For sure. I think that this is just this is where we butt heads.
You don't think that you would be giving something up, though, if they were all only 7s?
I think 7 is still pretty good.
It's like solid. That's why the question says it that
well,
way.
exactly.
You know,
it's still pretty solid.
Okay, but are most of your favorite games only 7s? That would mean you don't ever get to play those. I would much rather play my favorite 10 out of 10 games all the time.
Okay, but you're not saying like we're going to take our collection and chop it down. You're just saying like we're going to make a collection and this is the games that you get to play. We're starting like fresh. Like I don't think it'd be like, here, let me take all of your favorite games away. You're not allowed to play them ever again.
What?
That's not the way the question was worded.
Okay.
I like variety. I think that with 10 games I would get extremely bored. And I don't think I would like want to play them as much.
You know, it doesn't even say that you can't play other games. It says own.
Okay, well then I could play the 10 out of 10 games for me anyway.
Yes, yeah, sure. That's true. Maybe I'm with you just in terms of value. 100
Yeah.
games. I could get those 100 games and then I could sell them.
You're like really reading far too much into these questions.
Sure.
I was taking it at face value of just like, here's 100 games.
No, I was
They're
too
all
until you started
sevens.
talking about it. Yeah.
But you're like, oh, you never get to play your favorite games anymore.
But 7 is like bare minimum acceptable, honestly. Like you're saying it's solid, but it's like, it's not really. It's like, it's just good enough.
They're good. They're good games.
I don't know.
We have a lot of 7s in our
I don't want
collection.
variety. I want tight.
I like variety.
Tight.
Because I play like to my mood too. Like I'll play to like different types of moods I'm in.
Yeah. I would love to only have 10 games, honestly.
I know.
Would you rather play with a game group who all suffers from really bad analysis paralysis, or who rushes everyone through every turn?
Oh, we agree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hate feeling rushed.
that would make it very unenjoyable. I mean, this is eating time out of your life, but I don't know.
You can talk in between and things like
Yeah,
that too.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you can think about your own move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just...
You know, the thing that like bothers me though is like, okay, if we're playing like a cooperative game and everybody's deciding together and you know, you're taking a while or whatever, like that's fine. But when you have like a game group of like 4 or 5 people and they had 4 turns to figure out what they were going to do,
Look,
that drives me crazy.
okay, but that's what you just signed up for.
I know, I get it. But it's like...
It's miserable, but being rushed is worse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like feel bad about myself, like I'm an idiot and like I'm inadequate and making bad moves and stuff. And it's just
I think
no
in
fun at all.
general, like I don't get that stressed about analysis paralysis because I do that as well. Like honestly, the only situation I do get annoyed with that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is just like,
Sure.
you had 4 turns to plan what you were going to do. You were watching everybody else's turn. And I don't mind so much either if it's true like analysis paralysis, but if they like were not paying attention for those other turns, and then they're like, now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's not
Some
what
games
it is.
you can't plan ahead as much though, because you do need to see what happens in the meantime.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some you really can.
Yeah. Given that earlier you said you want like more games in a game night, rushing through them would allow for that. Right. This question really is like, would you rather play quicker games or longer games?
Nah, that's all right. I don't like rushing people, and I want them to get the experience that they want to get out of it. So I think like
that's very
allowing
selfless of
them
you.
to-
I was not worried about them at all. I was thinking about me.
Well,
Don't
that
rush
too.
me.
I don't like being rushed either, but
I do rush you sometimes. I know.
But I do think also like often, you know, we're playing and it's someone's first game or something, and they're trying to sort of figure it out and figure out what the best way to play is, and things like that.
I think that's a little different than the question intends as well, but
I think that can be partially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we agree.
All right.
Overall,
We agree.
would you rather have every game with deluxe components but no expansions, or every expansion but only base level components? Oh, you want expansions?
I did go expansions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that I like care too much about deluxe components. We like have not deluxeified many games at all.
No.
Like that's just not something that we do. Now I would say I don't know if I want every expansion to every game either. So I don't know that I'm like locking myself into you have to have every expansion, but
Yeah,
maybe
I'll
the
tell you.
option to have every expansion.
When we cut our game down to only 10 out of 10 games, we'll get all the expansions for
Yeah,
it.
we're not going to do that though. Yeah, I think that like we have a lot of expansions, and I would sort of rather have.
We really don't, though. We
even,
we have a few games that have many expansions.
Yes.
So that's kind of it for the most part. Like you said, we don't have a lot of deluxe components either.
We have like no deluxe
Yeah,
components.
yeah.
Like basically none. I'd rather get a different game for the amount of money that it costs to get a deluxe component. Now this is not saying that, but like in general, like, that's why we don't go for deluxe components, because we're like, we'll just buy another game. Like I'd rather just have a completely different game. So
I would not subscribe to that philosophy, but again, I would rather make the games that I really like as best as they could be.
see, but like I think having expansions of the games is doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's come up on this channel that I'm just not a huge expansion guy. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
we've been missing out on some key things. Wouldn't have a lot of Villainous. Wouldn't have a lot of Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have a lot of Final Girl. You know, those are some of our favorite games.
Well, exactly.
So, like-
that's where I'm like,
I'm just, shielding myself from that reality.
You can't do that. That's part of the experience.
Okay, but the nature of the question is just like, do you like components or do you like expansions? And I like components more.
Like I love components. I really love components.
Yeah, I'm
but
surprised you went with that answer.
I really do love components, but I will just pick games that have cool components to start with, and not that I need to like deluxeify them to get those cool components.
Maybe you're also taking it too far as like getting they're like super blinged out. A lot of things just have like, would you rather have like cardboard chits or like screen printed resources?
I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of games out there that like have cool components to start with, and then you see the deluxe and you're like, I don't know if that's necessary. Like,
Okay.
But he's telling me that he can cut all of Arkham Horror out except for one then. So we're going on the record on that one.
Would you rather teach a fiddly Lacerda to total newbies, or play Cards Against Humanity with hardcore gamers who hate party games?
This is really hard.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
didn't know if you would go with that, but all right.
I don't want to play Cards Against Humanity under any circumstances.
I don't either. I hate
So-
Cards Against Humanity.
I don't actually think this would be that much of a problem.
I mean, it's assuming...
Like, the game might not go very well, but as far as,
Yeah.
like, I don't mind teaching stuff.
It also
I
doesn't
don't
say
mind
that
people
they're
asking
not, like,
questions.
interested in the game either.
That's
Versus,
true.
like, the Cards Against Humanity, like, they also
Yeah,
hate it, and
that's
we
true.
hate it, and I don't want to play a game that I don't want to play either.
Right. I mean, they probably wouldn't be that interested if they're total newbies, right? They never would have heard of, like, that designer or that these
Didn't say
types
they're
of
not
games exist or
interested.
anything. Sure. I guess. But I think the intention is it's probably not going to be a great gaming experience,
Sure.
You're not going to really get to play the game because it's just going to be over their heads and you're going to be, like, trying to help them. And it could end up being, like, I don't know. You don't want to get frustrated or whatever, right?
I'm a teacher, so
Yeah.
this is not a problem for me.
Okay.
I will figure out how to teach it.
Yeah.
But
That's a
also, like, I have to have a lot of patience as a teacher. So,
In general, would you rather learn games or teach games? And I don't mean learn like you read the rules so that you can teach it. I mean have people like explain it to you.
That's
Little bonus question.
yeah, that's an interesting one. I think teach.
Yeah?
Yeah, even though I always have you learn all the games. But it's not so much that like
I'm a pretty good game teacher.
You are, yeah. No, you're a really good game teacher. It's not so much that like I don't like the teaching part of it. It's that I don't like the like I don't know, learning
Really?
the game, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our next question.
Interesting.
Would you rather...
Well, you didn't answer that, and I feel like you have to
What do you
answer
mean?
that one.
Oh, I'd rather teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you would, because anytime that we have a game that I do know, and I'll like start explaining it, you take over the teach immediately. Like I'll be like explaining it, you're like, well, you didn't say this yet, and I'm like, I didn't get there yet. I was about to say that.
I feel bad about that. I'm sorry. But other than you, don't trust people to teach me properly, I think.
I don't trust you.
No, I'm saying other than you teaching me games, if it's just random people we'd be playing with, I don't trust that they're gonna like give me like an adequate, like in-depth enough version of the game.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I actually know what's going on
Sure.
myself. Yeah.
I also have a friend who like specifically leaves some things out so they can win the game.
We don't know that that's why necessarily. That's just
it kind
you.
of seems like it.
All right.
Their spouse has also said that before. So.
Okay, well, that's pretty damning evidence then. Yeah. Would you rather magically be able to know the rules to any game without having to learn it, or magically be able to set up any game instantly?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about
that
setup?
tracks.
Like why?
Well, I don't hate doing either of these things. I think it's just part of being a board gamer, right? And like, if those are big hurdles to you, think about where you're getting yourself into here, right? But I have to do a lot more of the setup out of the two of us. I don't hate it or whatever, but like sometimes it is a lot, and like maybe I would pick different games if I didn't have to worry about the setup.
Sure. I could also see setup being a good answer because like the rules theoretically you only need to learn once. But the setup you're going to do every time?
Exactly. Better value. I'm always going for that.
Yeah.
I could sell those setups.
I went rules though, just because like I think also something that happens, especially when you have a lot of board games or you haven't played certain games in a while, is you sometimes have to relearn them.
Yes.
And that's like also just a hurdle to like getting that game back out.
Yep.
And so I think like if you just kind of remember all the rules and you don't have to look them up.
What made that potentially tempting as an option to me was I assumed that you would like know all the finer details like really good, right? Not just like a general how to play, but you'd have sort of like an encyclopedic knowledge of like every potential situation.
Yeah.
And that would be huge.
Yeah, and
To
I
never
think
have to like go into a rule book to double check something in the middle of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of games where like some scenario comes up that you're not sure about.
I get it. I don't know. Maybe my answer was wrong, but I'm gonna stick with it. Would you rather no games have inserts, like at all, no sort of insert, or every game has an amazing insert, but you have to trust the friend who you just taught the game to put everything away properly? You love your inserts. But you don't get to enjoy them this way, you know? So.
Yeah, either way, I'm not enjoying them. Oh, I don't know. You're going to have to decide on this one first because I got to think about this one.
Okay. What do you got? Hey, yep. Amazing insert.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so I feel like...
Games that are just an empty box are the worst.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're the worst.
They are. They're terrible. They're so bad. I think that, like, also, if it has an amazing insert, to me, that means that things are labeled. Like, this goes here, this goes here. Like, the ones that I'm thinking of that are really good have pictures of where to put everything. And so I would totally be looking over that person's shoulder being like, there's a picture. Just follow the picture. It's right there for you.
I don't think you're allowed to assist.
I don't know. But I think that, like, when I think of some of, like, the ones that have really good inserts, that's part of the insert.
That's true.
Is that it has pictures on it.
Yeah.
Or it has, like, words, or it has, like, a side of the box that's labeled that tells you where things go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great insert is one of my favorite things about a game, like enough that it potentially actually raises my estimation of the game because it's like part of the whole experience enough that like maybe it would enter like a new tier of a tier ranking just because of that or something, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so like even just knowing that it's there, even if I'm not like necessarily interacting with it and getting to like appreciate it by like taking the stuff in or out myself, like I think I would still just really, really like that. Whereas the opposite, again, just like an empty box, Lost Ruins of Arnak situation is just like that lowers my overall impression and experience of that game.
Yeah.
Just knowing like, oh god, this misery that's coming.
Yeah.
It ties into my setup answer too, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
so.
I also I have enough faith in humanity that they're competent, to be able to figure it out. I don't trust them to teach me apparently, but I trust them to put a game away.
I agree with you that like having really good inserts like really does raise the bar for a game for me. Like even if it's a game that I'm like, I don't know if I actually love the gameplay of it, if the insert is like so nice, like I just every time I open it up, it's like I just smile because I'm like, yes, this is a really good game.
That could be related to the deluxe components thing too, though, right? If you're blinging out all your games, you're probably getting inserts for them. And like, wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, I guess, but again, like some games just have that. So that's my opinion.
All right, last one. Would you rather have a drink get spilled on 1 in every 10 games you play, or every time you play a game, one component mysteriously disappears, and you don't know what it is at the time? It just like it comes up at some point. They're like, oh, we're just missing this thing. What you got?
I'm surprised you went the same. Yeah. The
drink is just a nightmare.
Yes. You're just going to ruin your game.
It's only 1 in 10 game, though.
I don't care. I don't want any drinks spilled.
This one theoretically ruins every game.
Yes. I get it. But I think I would just, like, if I knew that was going to be the case, I would just get a really cool extra component that I'd be like, this is the replacement component for any that's missing.
But you might not know what the missing one is for a long time.
I guess so.
Right. The thing is, like, there's variance inherent to this, where it could just be like the 15th copy of like a cube that you're probably not even gonna ever need or use most games, right. Or it could be like a very crucial thing that like the game just doesn't even work without it, and you'd have to come up with a replacement or something.
That's true.
But my approach was like the drink, like that's probably pretty much like a ruined game.
Yeah.
Whereas I think there are probably people out there who have just their life experience is like this. You and I are very meticulous, like organized type of people.
We really
but there are clearly board gamers who are just a little more like, free-for-all, loosey-goosey with their stuff. And there's a chance that like half their games are just missing random things anyway, and they make it work somehow. And I would like to adopt a little bit more of that carefree attitude myself, personally.
No, so. Does this mean you're going to be okay with us missing components from our games?
You got to be okay with it, right? No. That's the whole thing. I don't want to encourage it by any means, or like just let it happen if I have control over it. But like as far as the mindset of like that's not worth really stressing out in the grand scheme of things. All right.
No, I see people post like on social media a lot too, and they'll be like, what game is this from? And those posts drive me crazy because I'm like, first off, how do you not know your games well enough to know what game it's from? But also like, why are you just finding random game pieces? Now, I think we've had this happen a few times. Like we've had this happen a couple of times, but we found something like under the couch recently or something. It wasn't super long ago. Mm-hmm. But this has maybe happened like 3 times to us, people. Like, it does not happen. We are very organized. But when it happens, we also know what game it's from.
Right.
So like when we find the component, we're like, oh yeah, that's what this is from. I am so organized that type of thing just drives me crazy.
Well, then how did you pick that answer?
Because I feel like I could, if I knew that like that was just going to be a thing, I'm like, I feel like I'll just make it work, I guess. But the drink thing, I agree. Your game is just ruined. Like, it's just over. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not going to be able to play that game again.
And yet you wonder why I don't have drinks on the table.
We have nice little coasters now.
I don't trust myself.
That's fine. Just put your drink on a coaster off to the side.
Yeah, but the coasters can also just be set not on the table.
But you don't do that. You just take the drink and just don't put it on a coaster.
I'll put it on a coaster over on the banister. That's fine.
All right.
That's what I do. And you
yell
at me
do
about
not.
it. Yes,
I literally hand you coasters because you don't do it.
No, I always get the coasters.
I even got special coasters that match our player colors. Anyway. All right. Well, I do think I really enjoyed this game, though.
Yeah. And I mean, this is easy. There's millions more questions of these we can come up with, or you guys could suggest some. But if you got a kick out of this and you want us to do more, like let us know. Please, like comment down below because, we had fun.
These are fun.
And it's easy. We can come up with another 10, knock them out. Great video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys like this. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Game on.
Game on.